Hi everyone, welcome to Talk Show. I'm Lydia and I'm here with Nick and Rob, and we're here in the Classic Lounge. Now, can we just address the elephant in the room, please, first? Obviously, you're wearing a lovely accessory there. What happened then, Nick?
I dislocated my shoulder a few
Did you?
times.
How?
Yes.
Tell everyone the story.
From being silly.
Yeah.
We'll leave it. We'll leave it at that.
We're leaving it there. Okay, to be continued.
I was silly. Yeah.
What have you got for us then?
Shall I start?
Yeah, so I think the main story, which will come as no surprise, is Jaguar have revealed the interior of Type 01.
Yes.
So Type 01, obviously we had the prototype of Type 001. Mm-hmm. Type 01 is now going to be the first production car of this new era of Jaguar.
Okay.
As expected, as with when they announced the rebranding, it has been met with mixed response, leaning more towards the not good.
Okay.
But I think it's really important to remember that the people who they are aiming these cars at are very different to the people who were being targeted with Jaguars before. It's a different demographic now, different audience, different time, right? So Jaguar have made it very clear that they were financially struggling. Sales weren't what they needed to be. They needed to reinvent themselves. They needed to get out there, and they did. So we haven't seen the car in its full, complete package yet. We've seen bits of it. It's been testing and with camouflage wraps on, but this is now the interior. The main feature, which you will see, is one spine going all the way across.
Yeah, that's so unusual.
Which I like.
Yeah,
I do. So the idea is that it breaks the interior into 4 different sections. Yeah. So whether you're in the driver's seat, passenger seat, or one of the rear seats, you've got your own area effectively. And I've spoken about this before, but one of the things that I like most about it is, and I think Audi did it on one of their concept cars, they've got what I think Audi called it subtle tech. And Jaguar have incorporated this type of technology where it's got all of the gadgets and everything you want, but they're hidden.
It's not layering in your face.
No, so it's hidden until you need them. And once you need them, you can press a button, do whatever you need to do, and then they're available to you. But they're not just there in your face the whole time.
What I really like from the photos and stuff that we've seen is that quite a lot of the touch points are soft. Like, there's no kind of hard braked edges and stuff on them. It's really cool. But going back to your point about the separate areas and that kind of thing, we've dealt with a lot of older Jaguars. I remember we did the Mark 9. That's very much like that. That's back at the coach building side.
Yeah, but if you think about an E-Type, you've almost got a separate, a 2-sided cockpit at that point. That
you've got a tunnel.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so now that this extends back. So there's brass-inspired detailing, various bits. So it looks very futuristic and very cool. So one of the things that I was thinking and wanted to talk about was, can a brand like Jaguar honour its heritage by making a car that looks nothing like its older cars?
I think it does. I think Jaguar is actually going back to perhaps their golden age under sort of people like William Lyons.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
What I think it's interesting is because sort of back in the 50s and so early 50s and things, it was Jaguars were entirely hand built.
Right.
They weren't even built, they were commissioned.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And they were hugely expensive. But yeah, I like where they're going with it.
But I think if you look back, some of Jaguar's cars, like the E-Type, for example, when it was first revealed, it wasn't anything like any Jaguar.
No, it was a massive departure from it.
Exactly. And there was a whole uproar then. And then E-Types now are, considered the most beautiful car ever made.
Enzo Ferraris, allegedly.
Exactly. And you just think that, when something new comes out that's very different from what you're used to seeing from a brand, it's not an XJS, it's not an XKR, it's not an E-Type. But if this is going into the new era of Jaguar, everyone so far has been judging and giving their opinions on the concept. But in October, I believe we'll see the first complete production version of Type 01. And then we're in a position where you can see the car. And ultimately, you have to judge Jaguar's cars on the cars they make. Right now, you're judging it on an advert, on some concept drawings, whatever it may be.
On quite a lot of it, which you look at, is there is a mixture of real photography and digital rendering.
Yes.
Because the teams are still working out what does the switchgear look like, that kind of thing.
If you listen
I like Type 01 because, as you were saying, it's revolution, not evolution.
Exactly.
We're starting with a clean slate. We're going to try and go for it.
And obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Jerry McGovern leaving Jaguar recently. He was recently on Autocar's podcast, and if you haven't listened to it,
it's good.
He puts his side of the story across, and effectively, a lot has been exaggerated and everything else, but he explains the kind of ideas and the thoughts behind Type 001 into Type 01, and it does make sense. So I think if you listen to it from the man who was leading the team that came up with the idea, I think it's well worth a listen.
But one of the big things to take away from that, because there was a bit of a cloud sort of over his departure from Jaguar, but he sort of said that there's no mistake, Type 001, as it was then, was going to be his swan song.
Yes.
At Jaguar. He went, I will bring the product to market, and then I'm stepping away.
He'd been talking about leaving for a little while, time, but whatever happened. But either way, you should definitely listen to that and take a look at the interior of Type 01, because I think whatever your thoughts are on it, it's got people talking about Jaguar again,
which is always good.
Exactly.
I think if you've got people talking about it, the discussion is always good.
Exactly.
Is this the first real teaser we've had from it then? Like the proper...
This is the first time they've revealed what they're saying is the interior. Right. So we've seen some camouflage cars, we've seen the concept cars. This is the first time, as far as I'm aware, where they've said this is what it's going to look like. So we'll see.
Interesting. We'll see. We'll have to stay tuned for the final product then. Right, Nick, I had a little quick read through and I saw a handbag manufacturer and I got very interested. So please tell us more.
Actually, it's got two things that might interest you in it.
Okay.
Which is Porsches.
Oh, very good. Oh, this could be a good mix then.
And Louis Vuitton.
Yeah. Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton.
Thank you.
Sorry. Actually, technically, you have to say its correct name, which is a Porsche 911 reimagined by Singer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So basically, they've teamed up. It's Monterey Car Week coming up, so there'll be the quail, there'll be the drive and everything. So
that's where you'll see Type 01 as well.
Is it? Oh, cool.
It's like you planned this, isn't it?
I know, yeah. It's like we've had a plan beforehand.
They are teaming them up together. So basically what it is there is a selection of very, very special cars that they're doing for certain customers.
Okay.
But it's all based around a clock that's in the car.
Right.
So Louis Vuitton did a very famous watch. I'm just trying to find the name for it. The Tambour.
Okay.
Which apparently dates back to sort of like the 30s and 40s. They're very, very collectible, but they brought out a new version of it, apparently. Mm-hmm. So you probably know from Porsche when you had the kind of chronographs and stuff. That's there, but the thing is you can remove it from the car.
Oh, interesting. What, and wear it?
No, because it's like a clock.
Oh, I got excited then. I thought you could wear it as well. That's they should bring that out.
But apparently you can drive...
Lydia's idea first. Credit.
You can drive your Porsche 911 reimagined by Singer to your office, take the clock out of your car and go and put it on your desk.
Oh,
nice.
Which is quite cool. Good. But they're coming in some quite cool colours as well. So we've got saffron, cobalt blue and yellow.
Oh, that's quite a range.
Yeah.
They're... What colour's saffron?
Saffron's like sort of an orangey sort of colour. Well, it depends, because saffron itself is red, but when you put it in anything, it turns yellow.
Yeah, I was going to say yellow, but...
It's like the MG colour bracken.
Yes.
We all know that colour.
Orange.
But yeah, it's basically having a bit of a redesign from the other cars that they do in the range, which is the classic.
Nice.
So it's going to be based on the classic turbo that they're doing, so the 930 generation turbos. But they will have their own details. So apparently all the dials and stuff are going to be different in the Louis Vuitton cars. But at the core of it, it's still a supercar. So it's a 964 generation, all carbon bodywork to backdate it. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
Are these one-offs? Like
yes,
one and
only? Highly commissioned.
Right.
So apparently it's by invitation only.
Okay.
Which is the cars will appear at Monterey this week.
Yeah.
For prospective clients to have a look at.
Porsche are doing a lot of that then, aren't they? Because they did something with Toy Story just recently, didn't they?
Yeah,
they made like their Buzz Lightyear and Woody and whatever.
But they did it a few years ago because they did Sally Carrera from Cars.
Oh, did
and
they? Oh, I didn't see that.
They did a 996 that was kind of changed a bit with like eyes and stuff in the windscreen. It was really cool.
Cool. Yeah.
And I think they auctioned it for charity.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's sort of what's going on at the moment.
Amazing.
So again, two very, very highly personalised, I guess you want to say, very, very high-end builds.
Good. Yeah. I like it. Very nice. Cool. Well, thank you for that.
Right.
So let's head on to our competitions. So we've just recently drawn 3 new winners, haven't we? So we had the Defender, the Triumph, and that lovely bottle of whiskey, the Aston Martin whiskey, didn't we? So we're crowning 3 winners, and we've done that just recently. So congratulations to Neil, who won the Defender, Peter, who won the Triumph, and Alan, who won the whiskey. So stay tuned and watch that. Hi everyone, welcome back to Bridge Classic Cars. You're joining us here in the Classic Lounge, and we're just about to do 3 live draws. So the first one will be for the whiskey, and then we've got the Triumph bike, and then we've got the Land Rover last, haven't we? So super exciting. So we're crowning 3 winners today. So hopefully you can see our Google random number generator here. So just to prove that everything is working correctly, I'm going to set this to 5,000 as a maximum, or as a minimum, sorry, and then head to 6,000. So just for clarity, these tickets, our ticket numbers are lower than this, so we won't be generating a number that could be 1 here. So 5,118. Hopefully everyone on the live can see that. Can you just let us know?
You can just say it's clear, just so we can.
Is it looking clear?
Is anyone watching along live? Does it look clear?
No.
Cool. It definitely looks clear on my phone.
Okay.
So I think.
Shall we go ahead then?
Go ahead.
So we'll reset it back to 0 then. Okay, so back to 0 there. So for the Bowmore 21-year-old Aston Martin whiskey, we've got 1,500 tickets on this one. So from 1 to 1,500. So not all tickets were sold, so we may have to roll again if we don't get a winner. So the first number is 1,386. So if we head to our sheet just here, near the bottom, isn't it? 1,386. So we do have a winner, first time. So congratulations to Anthony Wilkinson. You are winning yourself a lovely bottle of whiskey there. So congratulations, Anthony.
You can drink it to celebrate.
Okay, let me close that tab down before I get confused. So resetting the number back to 0. So now we're heading onto our Triumph bike. So how many tickets did we have on this one then, Rob? 4,500?
Yep.
Ready? 4,133 is our winning ticket. So let's see if we've got a winner. 4,100.
Has anyone here got tickets for the bike? Or just the Defender? Oh, you have? You got tickets for the bike?
Fingers crossed then. 4,133. 4,133. No, so we're going to have to roll that again. So if I just pop that back to... Do I need to pop that back to 0?
Yes.
Yes.
0. So Stuart says, well done, Anthony, and he's got his tickets. So Stuart's won a couple of things from us already.
Has he?
Yeah, including some whiskey.
Lucky
some
boy.
Whiskey, an MGB, and a TR3.
Oh, you've got good memory there.
Yeah.
Right, so let's roll again. Hopefully second time lucky. 4,256. Oh, quite high numbers, aren't they? 4,256. 56. We have a winner. So Peter Gingell? Gingell?
Is that not you?
No. So congratulations to Peter Gingell. Apologies if I've butchered your surname, but you can either pick from the bike or £3,000. So that's very exciting.
So Robert says, come on the Defender.
So Defender up next. I think the one that a lot of the people here are waiting for.
Yes.
So if we go back to 0, and then 4,250 tickets on this one.
Yes. So Stuart won a 1964 TR4. What did I say? TR3, you said TR5?
Yeah, so both of them.
Yeah.
Cool. So the rolling for the Land Rover Defender.
So everyone in the room has a ticket for this as well, so let's see.
Fingers crossed, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a low number this time. 356. Oh, we've had a siphon behind.
A collective groan. Not all the tickets have sold though, so it might not be.
356. Yes, we have a winner. So Neil Williams. So congratulations to Neil. I'm guessing we've not got Neil in the room. Oh. So congratulations to Neil Williams. You are walking away with a Land Rover Defender, or the. And we had a spinach in the back, ladies and gentlemen, live TV.
Someone is so angry he didn't win.
Okay, shall we call it that? Cool. So congratulations to all our winners of the 3 competitions today. If you didn't win this time, bad luck, but make sure to head to the website, check out our next competitions, and you never know, another ticket next time may make you a winner. So we're going to clean up the mess in the background, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. So congratulations to our 3 latest winners. But if you weren't lucky this time, then don't fret. We do have another competition next week, and it is this, the MGB GT. Now, isn't it stunning? It's already been pretty popular. I think we're over 80% sold already. So don't hang about. If you would like to enter this competition, I'm pretty confident it's going to sell out. So make sure that you grab your tickets and let's take a look at it.
Some cars just get better with age, and our 1968 MGB GT is a perfect example of that. Finished in tartan red with chrome bumpers, it has the 1.8 litre B-Series engine and still looks great out on the road. And this one could be yours. Enter now for your chance to win.
So that was our MGB GT that's up for the next competition. So don't forget, grab your tickets before it's too late. But actually heading into something a little bit different. So still an MGB GT, but this time a V8. So this has been restored. So let's take a look at the process.
So this was a brand new Heritage shell. This was painted body colour on the inside and clear, and on the underneath it got a tinted Raptor. All the seams were protected from the elements with seam sealer to prolong the life of the shell. The outside of the shell had just the same attention to detail with epoxy, polyfan and primer to really get it straight and dialed in before Tundra base coat and clear was applied.
So thank you so much for joining us today on the talk show. Don't forget, the MGB GT behind me is the next competition, so make sure to grab your tickets via the website. But yes, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week.